And welcome to Lesson 21 of Unit 1 in CKLA Skills. Today, we will practice our new spelling words, we will read our tricky words, and we will ask and answer questions about key details in the story, The Chips. Don't forget that you will be taking home a spelling list today. Be sure and study these words at home throughout the week. You will have a spelling test at the end of the week on these words. This week, many of the words will use the spelling N, which can sound like ng. There will always be a tricky word at the end of your spelling list. Remember that tricky word is not going to follow the rules. Something in there will be a rule breaker. So be sure you memorize your last word, your tricky word of the week. The first three words that we'll learn from our spelling list have the n sound in them. That n sound is made with the letter N. So these words will be your typical phonetically sounded out words. The first word is sand. Say the word sand. Now let's touch spell the word sand. S-A-N-D. Now let's put our finger in the air and write the word sand. S-A-N-D. The word sand is a loose, granule substance, typically pale yellowish or brown, and it's usually found at the beach or at a riverbed, sometimes in the desert. So our word sand is a noun. The word sand in a sentence. We walked on the sand at the beach. Say the word sand. Our next word, hunt. The word hunt means to pursue an animal for sport or food, to search determinedly, so to really look for something. He desperately hunted for a new job. Now you notice I put that ed at the end of the word. That means I did it in the past. Hunted. Now let's touch spell the word hunted. The word is hunt. Say the word hunt. Now spell the word using your finger in the air. H-U-N-T. Hunt. The next word is thin. Say the word thin. Thin. Now let's touch spell it. I-N. Thin means having opposite surfaces or sides close together. It's little thickness or depth. So it's like a skinny piece, thin. There were thin slices of bread on the sandwich. Thin. Now let's write the word in the air. T-H-I-N. Thin. Now our next three words have the ng at the end of the word. The N and the G go together. They make that sound ng. Say the word sang. Sang. Sang means to make musical sounds with a voice, especially words with a set tune. Bella sang to the baby. The word sang is spelled, let's put our finger in the air, S-A-N-G. Sang. Let's touch spell the word. S-A-N-G. Sang. Hung. Say the word hung. If you hung something, that would be the past tense of hanging it. So that means that you're like placing it on a hook. So it would be the past tense of hanging something. Say the word hung. Hung. Touch spell the word hung. N G. Now let's put our finger in the air and write the word hung. H U N G. The picture hung from the wall. The next word is thing. A thing is an object that one may need, cannot, or does not wish to give a specific name to. So it's something that, like, it's a tangible thing that you have. It's a thing. Let's touch spell the word thing. I Ng. Thing. Look at the metal rail thing over there. Thing. Now let's put our finger in the air and let's write the word thing. T H I N G. Thing. The next three words that you have are, you're going to hear the ng in there when you say these words, but they're going to end with a K. So it's going to sound like sank. So you're going to hear that ng in there a little bit. The word sank is the past of sink. And if something sinks, it goes under the water and doesn't come back up. So the boat sank in the ocean. Sank. Let's spell the word sank. S-A-N-K. Sank. Now let's put our finger in the air and let's write the word sank. S-A-N-K. Sank. Our next word is hunk. Say the word hunk. You can kind of hear that ng before you hear the K. Hunk. Kind of like your mouth opens up like you're saying that G with the N. A hunk of something is a large piece of something, especially food, cut or broken off of a large piece. So it's a hunk of meat. So let's touch spell hunk. Ng. Good. Now let's put our finger in the air and write the word hunk. H U N K. Please cut a hunk of bread for the sandwich. Hunk. Now our last word with that ng kind of sounds like a K at the end. It is a K, but you kind of hear that g in there. It's almost like you're making that g sound. The word think. Say the word think. Think. If you're thinking of something, you have an opinion, a belief, you're setting an idea in your head. She thought that nothing would be the same again. She was thinking it would never change. So if you think, you put an idea in your head. She had it in her head that nothing was going to change, nothing was going to be different. Think. She was thinking at the moment. Let's touch spell the word think. I N K. Think. Now let's write the word. So put your finger in the air and let's write the word in the air. Think. T H I N K. Think. And remember, when you see this N and K at the end of the word, you hear the ng. Pink. Say the word pink. Good. So you kind of hear that ng, like that N kind of stretches out like the ng in pink. Now we have our tricky word. The word of the week, our tricky word is should. And remember, this does not look like it's spelled. So we've got to memorize our spelling. Should I put my name on my paper first? Should. Let's spell the word in the air. S-H-O-U-L-D. D, should. Now be sure and show your parents your spelling list. Make sure that you're studying these words. You also have a family letter that's in your packet for today, and you need to show that to your parents as well. This is explaining about your spelling words and giving you some ideas of how to study for them. Now let's read our tricky words. And remember, these are words that we have to memorize. We can't phonetically spell out. We can't phonetically make the sounds to read the word. Could. He could make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Could. Should. I should try a school lunch. Should. And notice that should and could are very similar in the way they look. Look at the next one, very similar to should and could. This word is would. I would love to adopt a polar bear. Would. Now let's review all of the tricky words that we have learned so far this year. He. I hope he studied for the test. Of. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Of. To. The car needs to be towed. To. From. It is important to know your right from your left. Was. That was the best show. Was. The. This cookie is the best. Sometimes we say we put that at the end of it. This cookie is the best. A. May I please have a snack? Sometimes we pronounce that as May I please have a snack? We. We sail out on the water. We. She loves to swim. B. I would like to be on the beach. Me. My cat loves me. Do. Do you want to give the dog a bath? Do. Down. We need to take down the flag in the bad weather. Down. What? What time is your bedtime? What? How? How many scoops of ice cream would you like? How? We see the word would in there too. Find the word would. Once. Once upon a time, there was a princess and a pea. One. It's a one-eyed monster. Why? Why is the house so dirty? Why? Where? Where is the dog? Where? Now you are going to find the story in your packet titled The Chips. The chips we are going to read for fluency and accuracy. So that means we're going to read this story and we're going to practice reading it out loud with a parent. We're going to read it correctly and we're going to read it fluently. So keep your speed up. You shouldn't have to struggle and sound out each individual word. Some of these words you should recognize and read quickly. So pause the video now and find the story, The Chips. Now, good readers, take a minute to look at your story and think about what's going to happen. Before we do that, I want to explain the definition of two words that are going to be in your story, the chips. The first word is plank. And if you see the picture of these people planking, this is an exercise that you do that kind of builds your stomach muscles, kind of makes you stronger in your core. But that's a plank, and that's what a plank looks like. So if you refer to a plank as a board, it's a flat board. It's a long flat board, kind of like their bodies are making a plank right there. The other word is gash. If you get a gash on your knee, this is kind of like like if you fall off your bike and you have one of those big scabs, that's a gash. So those are two words that you need to know before we start reading. Now take some time to look at the title of your story. The title is The Chips, and this goes along with our Cat Bandit series. So think about the Cat Bandit and all the things that he's done and kind of take a minute to predict what the story is going to be about. Now, good readers go through, they look for words that are being repeated. They kind of skim and scan through the story to get an idea of what they're fixing to read. So take just a minute to do that. Take your finger and skim through the story. Look for things that are being repeated to kind of give you an idea. Make a prediction, and you can pause the video to do this. Now you need to go to a parent. You need to read the story to someone at home, maybe a brother or sister, grandparent. You're going to read the story, and you're going to read it for fluency and accuracy. So if you read it and you struggle with it, have them help you read it to you, and then you can read it to them. So take a couple of times to practice if you're struggling with the story. Now, when we finish reading, we're going to unpause the video. If you're struggling with answering the questions at the end of the video, then you need to be sure and go back and read it again. Now, when we are finished reading and reviewing our story a little bit, kind of summing up what happened, then we're going to answer some comprehension questions on the story. When you're answering your questions, you may go back and look in the story for the answer. That is using text evidence. So when you prove it in the story, that's showing that you can find it in the story and use the text to answer the questions. Now pause the video and practice reading the chips. Now that you have read the chips, let's answer some questions. So if you struggle with answering these questions, then you need to reread your passage again. Where did Mom leave the bag of chips? Where did the cat bandit set the plank? What happened when the rock landed on the plank? How did the cat bandit open the bag of chips? Now that you have read the chips to someone at home, and if you felt really good about the questions that you just answered, then you are going to take your packet and find the comprehension questions for the chips. When you find the comprehension questions, you're going to be sure and answer each question using text evidence from the story. So you're going to look back in the story for the answers. Now, this goes along with our last I can statement. I can ask and answer questions about key details in the story, The Chips. So make sure that you use the story to answer these questions. Now we also practiced our spelling words, our new list of words. Remember, they've all got that n sound in them. Some have the ng, and some have the nk, where you hear that ng in it, but it's nk. You kind of hear that k at the end instead of g. And we also practice reading those tricky words that have something that's a rule breaker in them. Now, y'all have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow.